Igno-Rinse.
Did you ever think you'd get a shot at the World Championship?
Yes, I did. I've been waiting a long time, especially to get this gentleman in the ring here. And I'm looking forward to the fight the 24th of March.
Me too.
In 1975, Chuck Wepner, an unlikely contender from the rough-and-tumble streets of Bayonne, New Jersey, would defy all odds and secure a world heavyweight title shot against the greatest boxer of all time.
I tell you, the guy's a great fighter, but we're going to beat him tomorrow night.
Yeah. I'm the greatest of all time.
Yeah, but he's a better talker.
And you're going to be in trouble when you see this crowd and these lights, and when you meet Muhammad Ali, you're going to ask yourself, why am I here?
The story behind the bout possessed all the elements of a Hollywood blockbuster. Wepner was, after all, somewhat of a modern-day Cinderella, a great white hope. The former United States Marine and club bouncer wouldn't turn pro until his mid-20s, but after reclaiming the New Jersey State Heavyweight title, he'd go on a tear of 8 consecutive victories, bullying his way onto the greatest stage of them all, even knocking down the great Ali in the 9th round of their bout. The fight would almost go the distance, but in the last 19 seconds of the 15th and final round, Ali would put an end to Wepner's title hopes by delivering a dizzying series of blows, securing a victory by way of technical knockout. And though Wepner wouldn't win the title, his brazen display of heart and courage would inspire a nation to believe in themselves, and an out-of-work actor to put his pen to paper. Sylvester Stallone has never been shy about the fact that his Academy Award-winning classic Rocky was directly inspired by Wepner's epic fight with Ali. As the story goes, Stallone would call Wepner 2 weeks after the Ali fight just to let him know the film was in the works. Initially, Wepner viewed the film as a source of pride, content with the idea that his likeness, however embellished, would be immortalized on the silver screen for all times. But Wepner was never compensated for this depiction, and as Stallone's celebrity status rose to superstardom, and the Rocky franchise generated billions worldwide, he eventually changed his tune. In 2003, Wepner would file a $15 million lawsuit against Stallone to recover what he felt he rightly deserved for the film's conception and ultimate promotion. The lawsuit would be settled 30 years after the film's initial release for an undisclosed amount. But happy resolutions such as these are a rarity. More often than not, when the Hollywood machine takes aim at the imitation of life, they're far more losers than winners.
To all the Rockies in the world, I love you.
Thank you.
Why do this movie? See, because that's for you to jump out and do this movie. It seems like an All Eyes on Me would be one of the hardest movies you could pull off or want to get into because what Pac means to the world. Why did you take that on?
That's just in my nature. You know, if you're going to do something, you know, try to do the hardest, you know, because the hardest, you know, gets you in shape. Like you lift the biggest weights, gives you the biggest muscles.
Years ago, did you ever think that you would be the person that was going to deliver the Tupac movie?
Never.
Right.
Had no idea.
June 16, 2017 marked the nationwide release of All Eyes on Me, the long-anticipated biopic of rapper/actor Tupac Amaru Shakur. It was also the end of a decade-long journey by first-time film producer and music industry veteran L.T. Hutton.
One of my favorite passages is, I may not change the world, but I guarantee I spark the mind that does. For me, this film hopefully is that spark. A lot of people talk about the amount of time that it's taken. It really hasn't been that long, but if it took me another 10 years, I'll do it, just to make sure it's right. It's so much more than...
On its surface, All Eyes on Me had just about everything going for it. For one, just 2 years prior, Straight Outta Compton had taken the world by storm and shattered every box office expectation. If there was any indication that the masses were primed and ready for yet another great hip-hop biopic, one only had to look at the $200 million its predecessor grossed in sales. Second, and by far most importantly, it was a Tupac Shakur biopic. I mean, how could you really lose when the subject of your film is the most dynamic figure to ever emerge from the culture? Hip-hop's very own patron saint of tortured genius. His charisma, brilliance, and insight would captivate the hearts and minds of an entire generation, spawning multi-million-dollar industries of unauthorized biographies, tell-alls, and documentaries. Over 2 decades had elapsed since his untimely demise, and the raging fires of the mythology surrounding his name were stoked with the passing of each and every year. The film was certain to capture the interest of the general public upon its release. The father of the film's leading man, Demetrius Shipp Sr., had even co-produced Toss It Up, Tupac's 1996 classic featuring Casey and JoJo and Death Row Records label mate Danny Boy. And it didn't hurt that his junior bore a resemblance so uncanny that it gave chills to even the closest of Shakur's friends. So upon its release on June 16th, on what would have been the 46th birthday of the slain rapper, All Eyes on Me should have been embraced with open arms, right? Well...
And I didn't want to go into the movie hating. You
shouldn't. That's not our job to go in.
No, and I didn't want to be influenced by anything.
Right.
So, I wanted to see for myself if this was as bad as people were saying it. Not only just the critics, but the people who also love Tupac. I hate to be the one to say it, and I'm not trying to echo just what everybody's saying out there just because I want to hate too. Hey, listen, I'm not a Tupac expert by any means, but I do know when you fucking up his story.
I'm sorry to say, but after waiting for this movie for about an eternity, this thing is a disappointment.
I haven't been this disappointed since probably Suicide Squad. And I have seen plenty of disappointing shit over my life, but this is up there, man.
The negative reviews were relentless, with social media, the blogosphere, and professional critics alike universally panning the project for its uninspired storytelling, factual inconsistencies, and underwhelming performances. But one critic's displeasure for the film rang just a bit louder than the others.
Now, John, while you sitting here, I gotta ask you about that other movie.
Savage.
What movie? There's another movie.
Debacle.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if y'all know what debacle. Don't know what debacle means. Look it up.
So, are you that displeased with the situation?
I'm that displeased by
it. Let me ask. What? Are you displeased because of the final product, or that you didn't get to do it?
A little bit of both, but a lot because, okay, let me put this in perspective. When Spike Lee was doing Malcolm X, he had everybody on every street corner in Brooklyn and New York saying, Spike, don't mess up Malcolm X. Right. This is so important to us. Don't make him out. The people that were involved in this movie did not have that. They didn't have that pressure at all.
And Singleton wasn't being facetious either. The veteran director's complicated relationship with the late Shakur did present a very unique set of pressures in the execution of his life story. And how could it not? The shared vision of both men regarding the celebration of the Black experience and their respective obligations to shed light on the inequities and injustices therein sent their destinies on an inevitable crash course in 1991. Then, the 23-year-old Singleton was riding high off the success of his critically acclaimed directorial debut, Boys in the Hood. 21-year-old Shakur had made his debut as well, with his promising yet markedly less impactful entree, 2pac's Now. But their legacies would be conjoined at the hip after Singleton presented Shakur with the leading role for his second offering, Poetic Justice.
I ended up seeing a sneak preview of Juice, and I had known Tupac peripherally from around, just around through Queen Latifah. I met him in New York, and then I saw him around LA and in the Beverly Center stuff. And so I called him up and I was like, hey man, I saw your movie. We got to chop it up. You want to do a movie with Janet Jackson? He's like, yeah, I'll do a movie with Janet Jackson. I said, well, you got to come in and screen test. So we screen test Tupac and Janet because they were nervous about either of them or both of them acting. And we screen test them together. That scene in the that's in the beauty salon at the desk, magic, green light.
Let's cut the bullshit, okay? Now, what do you really want from me? You want to smell my punani?
Yeah.
Poetic Justice would go on to be a box office success and is widely regarded as one of Singleton's underappreciated fan favorites. The film wouldn't be without its share of controversy, though, and in retrospect, one particular misunderstanding would foreshadow the bitter end of an otherwise beautiful relationship between the young director and his leading man.
I was watching TV this weekend, and there's this whole controversy about the AIDS test. What happened?
Okay. Somebody came to my trailer, the director of the film, John. We
John
need you to
Singleton.
take an AIDS test because you're going to kiss Janet. Q-Tip just kissed her. She caught a cold or something. You know what I'm saying? That's what they said. And I was like, well, am I going to, do it to her?
I did not disagree if we were really going to make love. I said, if I could make love with Janet Jackson, I'll take 4 AIDS tests. But if I'm going to do a love scene with her, just like somebody else did, and they didn't take a test, I'm not taking a test. Not only am I not taking the test, but get out of my trailer. You know, I was like, and they sent like 4 different people to ask me, like somebody else asked me.
The producer came in. You know, white guy, are you going to do it? No. You know what I'm saying? He left. Somebody else came in. So, everybody's trying to do a roundabout. My manager, my agent. So far, I was like, no, I'm not taking the test.
Don't matter who you send, I'm not taking one. It's just, to me, it was just like an insult, just to ask me that.
It's disrespectful to me, you know what I'm saying? It just made me look at her like, what? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, plus I heard she said I was lying. Her people said I was lying about the test. I don't lie. I'm real, too real. So she need to check that. Check her people and check who said it.
Singleton wouldn't publicly address the controversy until over 2 decades after Tupac's death. And his response was, a bit puzzling.
Was that serious, that whole AIDS thing?
No, that was not serious. That was a joke that we was having on the set because the real talk is Tupac was attracted to Janet. I was attracted to Janet.
The world was attracted to Janet. I got beef with you right now.
We're on the set. We're both trying to flirt with her and stuff. And I'm like, I don't know if, I should have you kissing on my actress because, you've been fucking around doing all this shit. Pac was just coming in his own there, right? And I was like, man, fuck that shit. I was like, hell yeah, you know what? You're going to have to do an AIDS test before y'all do this love scene. It was a joke between...
She said that?
No, me.
Oh, you said that. Okay.
It's me salting out my nigga on the set. Back and forth. Just like, talking shit.
Yeah.
And then we're like, oh shit. We should use this. We should put this out. And so that's what we did.
As a publicity thing?
As a publicity thing. We just did that shit.
I thought that shit was mad.
But it was just like us talking about...
we didn't have Twitter back
then. And everybody got mad at Janet Jackson about that shit.
But it was just us talking on the shit on the set and everything like this. And, it was an inside joke.
An inside joke birthed from an apparent jealousy of Tupac's rising stardom. One Shakur to go to the grave never realizing he was the butt of. But this wouldn't stop the two from collaborating on Singleton's third offering, Higher Learning. A rape case would.
I don't know anybody down here. I don't know, it's different, man, All I got is me.
You were in Higher Learning.
Yes.
And Tupac was supposed to be in the film.
Yes. Tupac had to pull out of the film because of they wouldn't finance the film because he had gotten arrested.
Shakur, recently arrested in Atlanta following the shooting of 2 off-duty policemen, was arrested and jailed in New York City early Friday morning and charged, along with 3 friends, with forcible sodomy and unlawful imprisonment of a young woman at the upscale Parker Meridian Hotel.
Hey, look here. Merry Christmas to everybody. Merry Christmas to the press. I appreciate the present you've given me for giving me a fair trial and a fair shot at justice. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for just destroying everything I worked for the past 22 years. And a happy new year to you too. You did your job. I'm out of money. I'm out of all my resources. You made me look like the bad guy in my own community.
Can you move this down to your left, please?
Thank you very much.
Instead of making it
Shakur, who was about the only good thing critics could find in the recent Janet Jackson film Poetic Justice, was in New York working on a new basketball movie called Above the Rim. According to police, the rapper met a woman on Thursday night and took her back to his hotel room. There, police charge he allegedly called in 3 friends who tied the woman up and then...